Welcome to this video on overfitting and cross-validation. We'll explore how to handle hyperparameter tuning with integrity, ensuring your model's performance estimates remain trustworthy. In the last episode, we manually set max depth. But why 3? If we test 10 different depths and just pick the best, we've peaked at the test set 10 times, contaminating our results. Today, we'll learn the proper way to do this. To get started, we'll build on 3 key concepts: understanding the train validation error gap from episode 4, mastering hyperparameter tuning from episode 8, and recognizing evaluation score variance from our earlier casino discussions. Our goals are clear. Define overfitting and underfitting, use cross-validation for honest tuning, and understand the potential tax of comparing too many models in your search grid. Trying multiple values and picking the winner isn't a workflow. It's a biased estimate. Each time you peek at the test set to choose a parameter, that score becomes less reliable. The casino analogy reminds us that this approach invites luck over learning. Let's name our enemies. Overfitting happens when a model memorizes noise instead of the signal. Underfitting is when the model is too simple to capture the signal at all. Our goal is to find the balance between these two extremes. The U-curve is our primary mental model. As model flexibility increases, training error drops, but new data error eventually rises. The valley in the center is the sweet spot where the model generalizes best. In the left region, you're underfitting, increase complexity. In the right, you're overfitting, reduce complexity or add data. The valley is your goal, where the model has learned the underlying signal. Every hyperparameter is just a knob that shifts your position on this U-curve. Regardless of the algorithm, you are always navigating the bias-variance trade-off. Cross-validation is our solution for a reusable exam. By splitting data into multiple folds, we avoid the trap of a single luck-dependent split and make the most of the data we have. In K-fold, each fold takes a turn as the validation set. We average the scores from these rotations to get a robust estimate and check the variance, or wobble, between folds. In code, we use cross-val score. Always report both the mean score and the standard deviation. A lower standard deviation indicates a more trustworthy and stable model. Remember, keep your test set sealed in the vault. Never use it for tuning. Only touch it once at the very end for final validation. Cross-validation is for the tuning process inside your training data. To scale this, we use GridSearchCV. It automates the process of testing multiple combinations of parameters using cross-validation to find the best configuration. When implementing this, keep your grid focused. The goal is an honest search, not an exhaustive one. Using njobs equals -1 will help utilize your sister's resources effectively. Now we must consider the multiple comparisons tax. When you test many configurations, the winner's cross-validation score can be slightly optimistic due to selection bias. This isn't cheating, it's just the luck of the draw in your search grid. This effect scales with the size of your grid. The sealed test set exists specifically to pay this tax honestly. Always report the final test score rather than relying solely on the cross-validation score of the winning model. In this demonstration, you can see how we calculate the flattery gap. By comparing the best cross-validation score with our final held-out test score, we can quantify the optimism bias and check if our model is over-tuning to the grid. The complete, honest workflow follows a strict sequence. Split your data, perform your tuning on the training set only, fit the final model, and evaluate on the test set exactly once. This is the gold standard for production systems.
The test set is a resource that can only be spent once. Treat it like a sealed vault. Every decision during training must happen within the training set boundary to keep your final report accurate and unbiased.
This code block illustrates the full sequence for a churn forest model: splitting, grid searching on training data, selecting the best parameters, refitting on the full training set, and finally testing once. Beyond numerical search, We can visualize the U-curve directly using validation curves. This plots your training and cross-validation scores against a range of hyperparameter values, making overfitting zones immediately apparent. Plotting a validation curve is straightforward with scikit-learn. We iterate over depths, calculate the mean and standard deviation across folds, and then map these against the hyperparameter values to find the optimal point of generalization. The resulting plot tells a story. The training score typically rises, while the cross-validation score rises and then falls. The gap between them is your signal of overfitting. A widening gap indicates the model is memorizing rather than learning. Comparing our two canonical plots is helpful. The falling loss curve from earlier watches a model learn over time, whereas the validation curve shows how a model behaves as you adjust its flexibility parameters. Remember that these curves move with your data. More data supports greater model complexity, shifting the sweet spot to the right. Always run these diagnostics on your current dataset, as hard-coding parameters from previous projects can lead to errors. When reporting cross-validation results, always include the mean and the standard deviation. A model with an average score of 0.83 and a low standard deviation is far more reliable than one with a higher average but high volatility. By following this complete end-to-end workflow, you ensure your model evaluation is robust and defensible. This process protects the integrity of your metrics and builds confidence in your final results. Mastering these concepts allows you to handle critical interview questions, such as how to detect overfitting, maintain integrity during tuning, and manage the multiple comparisons problem effectively in professional machine learning environments. To avoid common mistakes, never tune on your test set. Don't report cross-validation scores as final. Always include spread in your reports, and avoid overly massive search grids. Keep your approach disciplined, transparent, and mathematically sound. To recap, remember these three core takeaways. The U-curve is your map for tuning. Cross-validation is your legal way to peek at performance within your training data. And always account for the multiple comparisons tax when selecting your best model. For your hands-on work, run the complete, honest sequence on your own project. Plot the validation curve to find your model's sweet spot, calculate your flattery gap, and ensure your workflow correctly separates your tuning phase from your final test judgment. We have now completed the entire module on evaluation discipline. You have moved from simple gap diagnostics to formalizing the full, honest workflow, giving you the tools to deliver production-grade model evaluations.
Coming up next, we tackle the bug that ships. We'll look at pipeline and data leakage, which are common errors that can bypass your best evaluation efforts. We'll show you how to use scikit-learn pipelines to keep your plumbing clean.
Finally, keep this reference card handy as you work. It summarizes the key concepts from overfitting and cross-validation, providing quick reminders for your workflow, from k-fold mechanics to how you should handle your test set in the vault. This program was brought to you by the Series of Thoughts team and TechnovativeAI.